Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for Thursday, October 26, 2023, the Don't Play Games edition. And we begin with that story from Reuters. The SEC says it will go to court if someone is playing games during probes and investigations. This came from SEC Enforcement Director Gabir Grewal, who said the agency will turn to court, although it rarely has to do so, to enforce a subpoena. He estimated the agency's done so about a dozen times in the past year. Obviously, this is in regard to Elon Musk, who agreed to a deposition and then didn't show up after being subpoenaed. So pretty direct there. Next up, from the Financial Times, reports that a Austrian official, Christian Pilnicek, who was part of an ongoing sprawling probe into high-level government corruption, has been found dead in his home. Austrian media reported that he was killed or died by suicide, but police have not confirmed the circumstances, and prosecutors have ordered an autopsy. Whenever you have suicide in suspicious circumstances, that's what they are, suspicious circumstances. Next up, from the Wall Street Journal, Risk and Compliance Journal, Richard Vandeford reporting that U.S. lawmakers said the Biden administration should crack down on China's use of forced labor in seafood production after an investigative journalist group found widespread transfers of laborers from the country's Xinjiang region to food processing facilities elsewhere in the country. The administration should block imports of seafood processing facilities in China that run afoul of U.S. law meant to target forced labor linked to Xinjiang, home of the country's Uyghur population. So more grief for China in its alleged use of forced labor, clearly antithetical to the U.S. Law and U.S. spirit of the laws in not putting people into slavery or forcing them to do labor. And finally, from Jonathan Armstrong, he tweeted about a Guardian article that deals with data privacy and Donald Trump. Donald Trump has sued a London firm over the Steele dossier about his alleged sexual perversions and his small hands. Perhaps he's the most upset not about the sexual perversions, but about the small hands. Nevertheless, he claims he's going to testify that he doesn't have small hands and he doesn't engage in sexual perversion. I wonder who's telling the truth. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.